Hello, everybody. Welcome to Take the Black Live, the one and only show on the internet that brings you the latest in TV, movie, fantasy, sci-fi news, hosted by myself, Dan Selcke, the editor of winteriscoming.net, and Mia Johnson, editor of dorksideoftheforce.com. Recently returned from your vacation back in the studio. Mia, how was your time off? How's your week off?
It was fun. I've been telling everyone it was an interesting vacation. I went out to Las Vegas.
Woo!
The trip, it wasn't to gamble and, to get wild. We were visiting some family friends who had just moved out there. So I was like, this is not the Disneyland vacation that I had earlier this summer. But it was still...
It's kind of like Disneyland, though. It is
It's
a little
adult
bit like an
Disneyland.
X-rated Disneyland with alcohol.
Yeah. But I did like, it's got all the theming. Like you said,
Yes,
we
it
were talking
does.
about like the Luxor is the Pyramid Hotel and
The
Caesar's
Excalibur
Palace.
is the medieval hotel, which
Yeah, we stayed in that.
Oh, you
Well,
did?
we went to eat. We went to eat there for dinner. Yeah.
I wanted to stay at that one. I stayed in the Pyramid Hotel.
Yeah.
And they got Caesar's Palace, which is like the Roman hotel. It's such a stupid, stupid place. And I really kind of like it.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that sells me over is I really love the whole theme. It is like Disneyland in a sense. Like Disneyland has Epcot where they got like the Paris Pavilion and all that. It's like, oh, there's a Paris here in Las Vegas.
There's a New
And-
York themed
yeah.
one that has a roller coaster that goes at the city. I remember that.
Yeah, so I complain, but actually, the more I think about it, the more I enjoyed myself. It was a fun trip. I'm glad to be kind of rested and
I wouldn't mind going
back
back.
here. Yeah.
But yes, we are glad to have you back. And hello, everybody who's watching. Hello, Julie, Christian, Joe. We are here to talk all things, Game of Thrones, Star Wars, Marvel, basically anything nerdy. We're here to talk about it. And we're going to start with some hot new releases.
Oh, yeah.
Because we have been taking in various TV shows and movies of late, including ones that I know are on your mind. So I guess first, Mia, let's talk about The Suicide Squad,
boy.
the new DC film from Guardians of the Galaxy director and Martin Scorsese critic James Gunn. Mm-hmm. So we both watched this over the weekend, and it's had a fair amount of buzz around it.
Yeah.
Big D sing, lots of stars. We got John Cena, we got Idris Elba, we got David Dasmalchian. I never said that out loud before. I don't know if I
Wow.
if I said that right. And there's been, I don't know, a lot of hype for it. Like James Gunn he is a talker. Like he
Oh,
likes to hype things up.
Yeah, and I think it had a lot going on its shoulders too because, you're thinking back to the first Suicide Squad, which is this a spin-off or a soft reboot? Who knows what this is in relation to that? But that was generally disliked. I thought I liked it until I went back to rewatch it and I was like, no, this is kind of trash. So I think that's why everyone was kind of looking to James Gunn because when you bring someone from Marvel, it is like bringing the big guns, unless it's Joss Whedon and you're bringing him on to Justice League. So maybe not. But yeah, I think that's why there's just so much buzz around. It's like, can James Gunn turn around DC?
And did he, in your opinion, with the Suicide
You
Squad?
know what? You're going to find this funny, but I think he did. I really think I enjoyed this movie so much more than I thought I was. And so I think my flight was on Saturday. I woke up at like 5 o'clock in the morning,
Okay.
Pacific time, got on the flight, had a stopover in Minneapolis, went to the print store, got on our flight to Chicago. It's late. I go to the grocery store and I'm like, I should go to sleep. And I'm looking at all the reviews for the Suicide Squad and I'm like, I'm going to cook dinner and I'm going to watch the Suicide
They were
Squad.
ravenous.
They were. And I was like, because if I don't watch it now, something is going to be spoiled for me because people
True,
just were not
true.
talking about it. So after all of this, I ended up putting on the movie and I was like, I'll just watch it. I don't care. I'll tune it out. And I like really enjoyed it. I was like, oh, I'm actually glad I put this on. Aside from the fact that I had to watch it in two parts because I did fall asleep when it was 10:30.
Sure.
I was like, it has been way too long.
It's a long
And
day.
I was like, I actually want to pay attention and listen to this movie. So I ended up finishing it the next night. And like just putting it kind of like at the top of my DC list. Yeah. And you?
I pretty much agree with Christian here. He says that best thing DC has produced in a while. I really enjoyed it. It was way over the top, but did it right. And I agree with that. It was very over the top. It was deliberately camp in a lot of places. Mm-hmm. It wasn't trying for anything revolutionary or serious or great. I definitely enjoyed it while I was watching it.
Ooh,
I did.
wow.
I enjoyed it while I was watching. I thought it was fun. Margot Robbie is very charismatic as Harley Quinn. They got a good kind of group of cast members. I liked sort of the fake outs where they had just some random folk at the beginning.
Yeah.
Who were they all?
Pete Davidson,
sorry, that's what I was
Michael
looking for.
Rooker.
Michael Rooker,
Yeah.
Weasel, who just kind
Nathan
of
Fillion,
Nathan
yeah.
Fillion, yeah, who just kind of got shot. That was fun. It was a movie that took shots like that. It was kind of metatextual. It was cute. Okay. Stepping back a bit, it's not like it was great. It's not like it was. I don't know. I guess I saw all the ravenous reviews and the wonderful reviews, and I was expecting something like, I don't know, Dark Knight level, like really game changing. And I was like, this is a superhero movie, and it's fine, and it's not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't have when I stepped back and my critic brain went on. It was like, I mean, it was very. Like they say in a screenplay that kind of everything should have a point, that everything should lead to something else. Like there were big chunks of that movie that just didn't really do anything else. Like, Harley Quinn is the whole side plot where she seduces a cartel Maltese and overthrow dictator guy. It was cute.
Yeah.
I don't know what it meant. And some of the jokes, I didn't like it when it turned kind of stakes heavy toward the end. Like, so for most of it, it's sort of like a cynical laugh factory where, like, oh, we're seeing who can take out this village of government agents quick enough. Oh, it's freedom fighters, whoopsie daisy, and it's like you laugh at that. And then later they decide they all believe in like truth and they must get this information out to the press. And it kind of evoked like these real life South American coups, like in Argentina, Bolivia.
Yeah.
But then the final battle is against a giant, colorful starfish. It was messy, but it was fun. It was fun. I enjoyed watching it. I really did. I guess I was hoping for something a little, based on the crazy reviews, something a little more meaty.
Okay. I see where you're coming from. I think, and I can't be too, I'm like, oh, I'm not taking this personally because my expectations were low in the first place. I wasn't sold over
And
by.
mine were weirdly high. I don't know why.
Well, I know because I wasn't sold over by the trailer. It just didn't seem to do anything for me. And
Sure.
the particular brand of humor, at least portrayed in the trailer, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this. I will say I really don't enjoy when things get gruesome, like bloody and hacky for the sake of comedy. Maybe there were a couple of scenes where I was like, okay, that was, kind of at the end, like with the John Cena versus Idris Elba when they're like having the, who can shoot more people or kill more people. I was like, it's horrible, but I get where they're going with this.
Oh yeah, it's definitely trying to be edgy.
Yeah.
It wants you to. Part of it is like the sort of grosser instinct, like we're going to entertain you by like, can you believe we went there?
Yeah,
like that
yep,
sort of
exactly. But I was surprised though how much I kind of enjoyed the characters because I was thinking back to I enjoyed this so much more than Black Widow, which the day that I'm like, I profess that I like a DC movie over, the latest Marvel movie is like, wow. But yeah, I enjoyed the characterization of this more. And I think James Gunn kind of said, like I saw a quote where he was like, people are gonna relate to Polka Dot Man more than Captain America. And I'm like, I guess. Maybe not that they're so much more relatable. They all seem to have their own backstory and it's kind of emotional. Even like Ratcatcher, I was like, why do I like this character?
Ratcatcher's kind of cute. That Polka Dot Man quote sounds like something James Gunn sort of says without thinking about it, which I think he does occasionally.
Yeah. But yeah, I was just surprised to see how much I enjoyed I don't know if I want to say character growth, the characterization, because they kind of
because I would dispute there's character growth.
Yeah,
there's lots of characterization.
I was gonna say
growth.
They went to the Loki school of character growth. So you just kind of go through this one moment. And you're like, you know what, my heart has changed. It grew 3 sizes.
Idris Elba likes rats now.
Exactly, but I thought that was so cute. Like
I
couldn't find any faults with it. It was just a comedy. Like you said, it didn't change the genre or do anything like that. But I was like, hey, I enjoyed it. I think he told a good story. Maybe a little messy here and there. But I probably watched it again. I'm like, I don't know when, but I kind of wanted a sequel, too, when I was done watching it.
I wouldn't mind it. I want a better constructed screenplay. There's like, we'll move on in a second, but like there's an essay about camp by somebody really smart who said that it's like camp is instant character where there isn't really much like growth or context. And I kind of got that from this. So people are here, they are formed, They are acting according to how we know they're supposed to act, and that's kind of all it is. But it was fun, and it was well done, and I'm glad I watched it. Before we move on, it's that time in the show where I talk to the men in the audience, but also the women who know men. So basically, everybody. You know, winter is come and gone, but summer is here right now, and that can mean heat. That can mean visiting the beach. That can mean sweat-related discomfort. Ask me, I sweat a lot. To help with all of this, you'll want the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0. This package comes with the Lawnmower 4.0, which makes removing body hair easier than ever before, thanks to its cutting-edge ceramic blade. It also has an LED spotlight, and it's waterproof. So if you're showering and you're shaving and the power goes out, that's not going to stop you from doing what needs to be done. And that's not the only product that Manscaped has to offer. The Weed Whacker takes care of your pesky nose and ear hair. And the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant is like regular deodorant, but it deodorizes a part of the body that you don't put regular deodorant on. Want these fine products for yourself? Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code FANSIDED20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code FANSIDED20 at manscaped.com. Let's get buzzing. Thank you, Manscaped. Yes, thank you. All right. What? And hello, Nicole, and hello, Ed. Good to see you here.
Great time to jump in.
Great time to jump in. What else are you watching, Mia? I think you also have an advanced look, another superhero property.
Yeah, this just came out overnight. Today debuted. Marvel's What If. If you thought, you could rest after Loki and take a break and, kind of get Marvel out of your mind and watch Suicide Squad, Marvel Studios says that ain't gonna happen.
No.
But yeah, so What If came out. It's the animated anthology series based on this comic book series where it's kind of like, hey, what if these different random events happen based on the canon events that happen in the Marvel universe, which is basically kind of what comic books do anyway. They always just kind of change things. So
I mean, you have to sell so many issues and have so many books running at once, whatever you got goes.
Yeah, so but this one is more interesting because the MCU is kind of fixed, save for whatever they're trying to do with the multiverse. For the last 10 years, it's been fixed, and they're like, okay, well, now what if we play with this? So that's what If is all about. So I watched the first 3 episodes, and the first one was released, so we can talk about. Did you watch the first episode?
I'm afraid I didn't yet.
Oh, no.
Or maybe ever. We'll see.
Well, okay.
Should I?
That's a good question.
Should you?
I'll say I really enjoyed this series, and as a Marvel fan, it's kind of like it's kind of a nice breath of fresh air to have something that is not their typical offering. And I think we were having the conversation last time I was here about you were talking about watching the Batman movies, the animated movies, and they don't always hit that right way.
Oh, they almost never hit that way.
I think these are. I don't know if I want to say on par with the storytelling of the movies, but I think for the most part, it's not like those typical cartoons that you see that comes on Disney or wherever else these might air. So, okay. So the first one that came out was the Captain Carter. We just saw the photo of that there, and it's basically the whole premise is what happens if Peggy Carter happens to take the super soldier serum instead of Captain America. We get Captain Carter. Not Captain Britain, Captain Carter. Now this episode.
Oh wait, yeah, she's British, isn't she?
Yeah, yeah.
How's that even?
A missed opportunity, I know. But okay, this episode.
I'm Captain America.
A lot of people liked. I found this one to be a little slow, and actually, it kind of lowered my expectations for this. So I know there were people who liked it. Overall, though, I do recommend the series. If I can cut to the chase, I do recommend the series. Because even after episode 1 with episode 2 and 3, they get just really weird with it.
Cool.
It's not just taking one variable, like with this one here is what happens if T'Challa is Star-Lord. So that's him in The Collector. And it's voiced by Chadwick Boseman. And that to me was kind of,
Is it voiced by the Collector guy who was...
You know what? They didn't include the credits on that.
There you go,
Benicio del
yes,
Toro. It didn't sound like him. I wasn't sure, but I have to double check when that one is out. But yeah, to hear Chadwick Boseman one last time, that was really
cool.
awesome. And just to hear the other cast too, it's like, oh, you usually don't get this. You know, when it's a cartoon, it's going to be someone different. They probably don't sound like that actor. And it kind of sometimes draws you out of the experience. So this makes it feel like it's the MCU, but you're like, oh, wow, that would be really cool if that happens. If Star-Lord and Michael Rooker's character, you know, with the guy with the whistle, Yondu, at least you know that. Yondu, like what happens if they get together? So there were some really fun surprises in there. And it's like moment after moment, it's like a twist. You're like, oh, that's so cool that he's doing this now or she's doing that now. So I think you should check it out. Maybe at least the one episode or so.
Well, okay. I'll ask the question that determines it. I have two questions. Are these half hour or hour long?
Just half hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
That drastically increases the chance that I might watch it. My other question, and by the way, Christian has a good comment. It was fun catching the tip of the hat moments of the first Captain America movie. I'm assuming in that episode, which is cool. Mm-hmm. These must be just reference paloozas. These things.
Oh yeah, it requires some deep knowledge. Not necessarily deep, but as long as you know you've been a fan all these years. This first episode in particular was kind of weird because it was like we are just gonna retell Captain America, the movie, but kind of, you know, now Peggy Carter is taking over the events, right? But whereas the second one was like, we're not really going to retell a whole movie. We're just going to take a moment of time and then just completely turn it the heck out. So I like those two a lot better because they do get a little bit, you know, like I was saying, more interesting with the storytelling. The third episode deals with the Avengers and Nick Fury, and I won't even say anything else, but that was kind of my favorite era within that third episode. So I was like, oh, this is so good.
My other question for you was, okay, so this show, What If, Multiverse, it follows Loki where there was a big multiverse explosion. Does this tie into like kind of the ongoing story we're getting with these shows, or is this a standalone sort of thing?
It feels like it's meant to be a standalone. I think there was something recent where they said, did they pitch this idea before they knew about the multiverse, I think?
Something like that.
Yeah, there was something like that. So they don't make any reference, at least in the first 3 episodes, to the multiverse and what happened and all that.
Okay.
It's centered around the Watcher, who is voiced by Jeffrey Wright, and he's just like, hey, I'm this guy in space, and I get to see all these cool things that are happening in other universes. So it's kind of like Heimdall, but he gets to see like everything.
He's like us. He's watching TV.
Exactly. So, I guess it's a weekly series. I don't know how many episodes. So at least 8. I know at least 8. And it's fun. It's fun, and I enjoyed it. And as far as animated series go, I think I put this one over The Bad Batch too. So
cool.
Yeah.
I could use like a little kind of a lighter break. More stuff, sure. Yeah. So, and again, a half hour makes it easy. Standalone stuff makes it easy.
Standalone anthologies, so you don't have to like continuously keep watching. You can really jump back into any one episode. So,
there you go. Recommended.
Well, okay. So this is our last item on the list for what are we watching, and this is your pick, Dan. So
it was just quick because this came out 2 weeks ago, and I actually went to a theater for the first time since like March 2020, or before that, since the pandemic. I might have to like stop going now. Might shut down again. Anyway, I saw The Green Knight in the theater.
Yeah.
And I was so happy to be in a theater. Honestly, I'm not even sure I absorbed it all. I was just so happy to have popcorn. And they didn't have Milk Duds. I was very offended by this. I love Milk Duds.
No. I do too. That's like my favorite.
I know.
The ones
I've never happened to that.
The ones at the movie theater taste different from the ones at the grocery store.
They
Walgreens,
absolutely do. But anyway, I saw The Green Knight, which is a movie that adapts a very ancient, anonymous medieval story about Gawain the Green Knight, a member of King Arthur's court. So we're in medieval times, we're in mythical England, and it does feel, I liked it a lot. Awesome. I loved the atmosphere. I liked kind of all the kind of directorial choices they made to establish it, kind of the colors and the framing, and just the pace. It was a slow, sort of languid, intentional pace that let you just kind of sink in. It was a good thing to see in the theater. I feel like with all these superhero movies, like there's a way to do it, and it has to like move us to this bit and this bit and this bit and this bit instead of this next thing. It was just nice to watch a movie that was just like sitting by itself. Like that was sort of a pleasure to start because I'm so used to this stuff now. Dev Patel plays Gawain, and the story is basically a Green Knight comes in. He's a young Green Knight. Whoa, okay. Gawain is a young Green Knight in the sense that he is inexperienced. And then a literal Green Knight walks in who is like made of trees, challenges a knight to fight him. Gawain cuts his head off, and then he picks it up, puts it back on, and said, like, I will repay this blow onto you in 1 year's time. Ew. And then the whole thing is just him going on a quest to meet the Green Knight again. And again, it's kind of episodic, and it's all just something you just want to, like, get absorbed into and let it wash over you. And the filmmakers are very interested in setting the mood and the atmosphere. That's their kind of main thing. And it was nice. It was a nice absorbing experience. Kind of got taken away. I enjoyed it.
That's nice.
I don't quite know what the ending meant.
Was it open-ended or?
It was open-ended, yes.
Oh, I see. Now
There's some beautiful shots that like kind of compose these scenes of nature and the Green Knight kind of resting in repose in this kind of ruined, moss-covered chapel. There's a lot of shots of like the English countryside and rain, and just it was a very pleasant, almost spiritual movie to watch.
Oh wow!
That fed my movie-enjoying soul. Was it good? I don't even know.
Oh,
but I definitely did enjoy watching it.
Okay, yeah, I thought you were gonna say it's good, but so do you recommend it at the very least?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
I do recommend it. I don't know what I would have liked. Honestly, I'm not sure if I would have liked this much if it weren't in the theater. Although I don't know if I'm just fetishizing that experience because I have been away from it for so long. Although it is going to stream for like $20 for like one night.
Oh, wow.
Right? Have you heard this? Like I think like in a week on like A24's website, you can like pay $20 and then like watch it at home for one night only. Because
that's a lot for rental.
I mean, here's a news update. There's still a pandemic. People still aren't going to the theater, and movies are still kind of struggling that way. We'll talk about that in a second.
It's cheaper than Disney, but still, even Disney lets you have it for a little while with the premium stuff. Oh, we'll talk about that in a second, though. So,
yes, we will. My Christian has one more comment about what if. At the beginning, they mention how certain moments trigger different streams of the universe. Peggy creates a moment during the beginning, very Loki-ish. Oh, okay, so
it's kind of like you create that little nexus event. You know, one thing, the butterfly event, basically, a butterfly thing that's supposed to happen, and then it just creates this whole other branch. So it's very Loki-ish.
Yeah, I enjoyed The Green Knight, recommend it, and of course it's good to feed that like kind of medieval fantasy stuff with like the original medieval stuff. King Arthur can't get more sort of classic medieval legendary than that.
Oh yeah, and
I almost never liked King Arthur stuff, but this was quite good.
That's good to hear.
Because Arthur's in it for like a couple of minutes. It's about Gawain. Gawain's in
It's his movie, of course. It's Dev Patel's film. Awesome. So this is something that you all over on Winter is Coming released today, this next bit of news, as we go into House of the Dragon and all that good stuff. So it sounds like there has been a casting update, hasn't there?
There's been a casting report that I believe. House of the Dragon, you know, Game of Thrones prequel series coming around the bend in 2022. We're getting a lot of report. We know who's playing people. We know Matt Smith is playing Daemon Targaryen. We know Emma D'Arcy is playing Rhaenyra Targaryen. We know Olivia Cook is Alicent Hightower. We have a bunch of the cast, but like Game of Thrones, this thing has a whole lot of freaking characters. I'd be disappointed if it didn't. For a Game of Thrones follow-up, you better have a intimidating sprawl of people whose names I can neither remember nor pronounce. And there was a UK actors kind of collective Twitter that congratulated one of its members, David Horovitch, for his work on the stage doing Shakespeare, and just kind of like offhand mentioning, congrats on joining the cast of House of the Dragon, David. Good for you.
Ooh,
I'm betting they wouldn't have wanted that out, HBO. It's one of those wonderful little coincidences. So it looks like David Horovitch, who is a 70-something English actor who has been in, one of those guys who've been around forever, and he's been in lots of British TV shows over the years, a lot of Shakespeare stage work. He has a YouTube channel where he just like reads Shakespeare sonnets, which is kind of cool.
That's so adorable.
I'm going to go ahead and say he's definitely joined the cast. I don't have confirmation, but whatever. I'm just going to go say it anyway. And that's cool because we want actors of caliber, status, and distinction in this fine show about dragons eating each other.
Exactly. So, is there any kind of speculation about who his character could be? Like, is there any
There
precedence for?
is.
Oh my!
I mean, again, nothing confirmed.
Yeah.
But I always liked Game of Thrones because it had like prominent characters who were are different generations. You know, like you had like your Arya and your Sansa and your Bran, who were like kids, and then you had like your Jon and Daenerys who were a little older, and you had like Ned and Catelyn and Cersei and Tyrion who were a little older. And then you had like Olenna and Tywin who were
Yeah.
like elderly people. It was fun. It was fun to
Yeah.
like kind of get different characters of all different generations in there. And there are some older characters in the Dance of the Dragon story, which is set about 170 years before Game of Thrones. We always do this. Two sides of the Targaryen family, they both want the throne, they fight each other. And I'm just going to give you my speculation as who he is.
Okay, let's hear it.
There's a few options, but I think he's going to be a character named Lord Lyman Beesbury.
Ooh.
And Lord Lyman's deal is that he is, I believe, the master of coin under King Viserys Targaryen, who is the king at the start of the story. And then he's the one who dies, and then the whole battle for the throne is who replaces him. And the trick with the Dance of the Dragons is his daughter Rhaenyra has been promised the throne. She thinks it's hers. And then his second wife would prefer her son by the king be on the throne.
Right.
And when he dies, there's a split. Like, who do we put on the throne? And both people argue for their own thing. Now, Lord Beesbury is old school. He's literally old school. He's old.
Yeah.
And he is old enough to remember back when the king promised the throne to his daughter Rhaenyra. But when he dies, he's around supporters of Aegon, the second wife's son, Alicent Hightower. And right after the king dies, his wife, Alicent Hightower, calls like a council together with the purpose basically being, we can put my son on the throne immediately before Rhaenyra finds out, so because she's away at the time. And she kind of gathers all her supporters together and be like, okay, how do we take this throne and make sure she does not get it? And everyone's like, we could do this, we could do this. And Lyman is the only one who's like, what are you talking about? Rhaenyra is the heir. We put her on the throne. You're all a bunch of traitors.
Ooh.
And then he is thrown out a window to his death by Criston Cole, who is the Kingsguard who has a sordid romantic past with Rhaenyra. Remember the incel I kind of talked about earlier? Like has a thing with her.
Yep.
So his big scene is in a room full of people who are plotting how to deny Rhaenyra her throne. He's the only one who's like, what are you people talking about? Like, the king, we know what the king wanted. It was to put his daughter on the throne. And he's like, get him out of here. Is basically it.
So we might not want to get too attached to his character.
No, but it's a good scene, right?
Yeah.
I can already picture that scene being very dramatic and fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It sounds like he has the background at least to pull off something like that and make it memorable, no matter how long he actually ends up being in the series. If it's this character, it sounds like an interesting character.
I mean, like, there's some good. There's some like small characters who have like nice, big, memorable scenes like that. Like Ned Stark isn't around for that long, but you remember him because he was involved in a bunch of stuff. That would be that's a good role for a character to come on, kill it, and then like leave without much time and see you later.
Yeah, especially because HBO, they did have that long list of who was cast and who's who. So it sounds like not really within the main cast, but just enough to be memorable and leave his mark and apparently get this congratulations.
That's my guess,
That's
by the
hilarious.
way. It could be someone else.
Yeah.
Or he could not be in it all, but I think he is, and that's where I think he is. But we'll see when the show debuts next year.
We sure will. So, yeah, if anyone has any theories about his character, let us know in the comments. But, we will move on to continue talking about movies again.
Let's do it.
And I found this to be interesting. It just came out like yesterday or the day before, and it's all about Warner Brothers. The benevolent overlords who brought us the Suicide Squad and many other memorable movies, including
Mortal
the Justice
Kombat,
League and
Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah, all those other great movies.
Space Jam: A New Legacy.
Oh yeah. And of course, they were kind of the big ones to shake up everything when they were
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, we're going to have this new streaming deal for 2021 where, we got to get our movies out somehow. So we are going to release them in theaters. And we are also going to release them simultaneously in HBO Max. And they were kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
it's only for 2021. And
And for no extra charge on HBO Max too.
yeah, for no extra charge, unlike Disney. And, that shook up and made movie theaters mad and made the actors mad and made everyone mad except for the people, who get to sit home and watch the movies. But it seems like that will indeed be coming to a close in 2022 because it looks like Warner Brothers they made a deal with AMC, the theater chain, to ensure that their movies in 2022 are released solely and premiered solely in theaters, or at least
Right.
AMC theaters. So I was looking at the slate of movies for 2022. That means like the Batman, Fantastic Beasts 3, Black Adam, The Flash, perhaps the Aquaman movie. Those aren't going to be coming to HBO Max. They're going to be going straight to theater.
3 to 4 those are superhero movies.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm on the Wikipedia page trying to find like some memorable movies. And I
And
think
the other one is Fantastic Beasts 3.
Yeah. The only other movie I could see that's notable for 2022 is like the Elvis biopic or something like that. So
Wait, who's in that?
I would have to go back.
Never mind, it's
look
not
it up.
important.
Now I'm curious to find it out. But
You keep talking. I'll look it up.
okay, yeah, Elvis movie, Warner Brothers. So it's interesting to me that they've at least kind of settled on saying now
That's
we're
Austin
gonna
Butler. Okay, never mind.
that now we're gonna. It's the way you said that was so funny. Now we're gonna kind of scratch the whole HBO Max release thing and just kind of force people to go into theaters. And it's got me wondering now, is everyone else gonna follow suit? And it's really like all eyes are on Disney because when it comes to Sony and at least Universal, they've been just kind of like, we're just gonna put out in theaters, and if you see it, you
Because
see
they don't
it.
got any streaming service they can put them out on, or at least no viable one.
Yeah. So it makes me wonder, do you think, in your professional opinion, as we look at Disney,
Really valuable.
do you think that Disney will also kind of fold and say, okay, we're just going to go back strictly to in-theater viewings, at least, by 2022? Or do you think it's too good not to have, everything go up on Disney Plus and in theater?
I mean, I think that one important bit of this is that even though Warner Bros. Is going to go back to dropping movies in theaters exclusively, they did win something. That before the pandemic, movies were in theaters for 90 days. And now in 2022, they're only going to be in there for 45 days. So, like, the window is shrinking no matter what. I think it's inevitable that movies are going to come out on streaming services, if not at the same time, then pretty soon after. And I think we're seeing some pushback from industry insiders. Both the creatives, like Denis Villeneuve of Dune was upset, and Christopher Nolan was upset that his time travel nonsense couldn't come out in the theater only. As well as theater chains themselves, obviously, are being hurt by this. They're all going to push back. I think it's kind of a losing battle because at the end of the day, it's good for the studio's business, and the reason it's good for that is because it's so helpful to so many people like us who are just out there watching it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Disney. I mean, I think they'll go back to theaters, sure, but I think there'll be like a smaller window, and I think they might like maybe offer it sooner on the stuff. I mean, right now, God, we're still. I mean, I'm of two minds, right? Because I feel like when some folks are saying like, why did the Suicide Squad underperform at theaters? Why did Black Widow underperform at theaters? Like, what do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, why is that
because
a question?
people don't want to go to frickin' theaters because there's a plague on. Like, it's not hard. It's not like rocket science. And yes, okay, here's what I was in my head. Like, when people make arguments like Scarlett Johansson make an argument like, if it wasn't Disney Plus, it would have been a box office blowout.
Yeah.
Like, it assumes that there are only two choices. That you can either go to the theater during the pandemic, watch the movie, or you can watch it at home on Disney Plus. Like, there's a third option. The option is not see it.
Yeah.
Like, if it was only in the theaters during the pandemic and people couldn't watch on Disney Plus, it doesn't mean that everyone who watched on Disney Plus would have gone to the theaters. 2-1. They would have gone from 2 to 3. They just wouldn't have seen it, period.
Oh, yeah.
Is my opinion on that. So I think it's a little weird to blame the lack of box office oomph on some of these recent movies on, well, why do people watch it where they're able in streaming? Mm-hmm. Well, there's a really good reason they wouldn't go to the theater, whether it's on streaming or not.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, I'm tied too as to what kind of, at least what Disney's plan will be for the future, because there is a lot of money to be made in streaming. You know, they were boasting how much money Black Widow made in streaming, you know, before Scarlett Johansson was like, I'm going to sue the pants off of you. Can you do that with Disney? I feel like they've still got a lot of money tucked away.
Like, I mean, even if they gave her, like, what did she want? Like 50? I think like 50 million.
Yeah.
Like, of course Disney could give her that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it will.
But yeah, it's this tie, because it's like, you know, do we care about, you know, I hate to call it, you know, antiquated movie theaters not getting their profit and not getting their money, or do we care about us who made the movie getting as much money as we can, which would be through the streaming route, because now they don't have to split it with the theaters.
And the answer they definitely care about themselves more.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's tricky too, because obviously theater owners are hurting, and people who work in the theater business are hurting, and I feel for that. That is difficult, but businesses change, and there is going to be a period where it hurts more, and then it will find an equilibrium.
Yeah.
And then there will be other things to go into, but I just, part of me is like, you can push back against the inevitable and still lose in the end anyway, or you can like start getting an MBA now, I guess, or something like that. That's very cruel, but it is basically the way I feel.
Yeah, I foresee that after all of this, it's like nothing is really going to be the same as far as this whole theater industry is going. I do think there's going to be maybe a significant downsizing, and
probably
I think even like you can look at movies like, you know, like Fast 9, right, from Universal, and didn't have any streaming. And it was still kind of like, you know, it you know, probably had the top of the box office for that week. But then, you know, okay, after that second week, it fell off. So it's like, yeah, like you said, people still just aren't going to the theater. You know, they'll just choose to not watch it. I don't watch Fast 9 anyway, so it's not like I have any any personal stake in that.
You can watch Fast 9. You know, I've never seen a Fast and the Furious movie.
I haven't
not
either.
once.
I watched 20 minutes of the first one.
Are they good,
like, no.
people? Anyone who's seen them, should we watch the Fast and Furious movies? I am curious.
I want to watch
for a long
them,
time.
but yeah. And so it's weird because I saw Jungle Cruise in the theater as well, and it was a fun experience for the most part.
Christian says no, by the way.
Oh no. Like, it was fun for the most part, but I was also like, you know, I was really starting to feel like I possibly could have just watched this at home. I was hoping that, you know, maybe something about the big screen and it's action movie, and, you know, The Rock's got all his muscles out and things like that. I'm like, yeah, maybe that'll make it enjoyable. And I was like, I could have seen this, you know, on my regular TV or even on my phone, and, you know, to me, it still would have been the same experience.
Ooh, they do not want to hear you saying
that. I'm on the hit list now. So
Christopher Nolan, I'm pretty sure, like, pops the bluff when someone says, like, I'll just watch it on my phone.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. That's just how it is now. And I think
it is. It's how it is, and you're going to have to, like, Christopher Nolan, you're going to have to adapt, Christopher Nolan. There's no other option.
Yeah.
Like, you can find joy in the new way of things.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Survive, adapt, overcome, or whatever the Bear Grylls thing is. So, yeah, I was looking, you know, at the numbers, like, for the box office, where it's like the Suicide Squad only, you know, 26.5 million domestically. Black Widow did better first week with 80 million. Jungle Cruise got 34 million. But it's like, and then it falls off that second week, whereas, you know, Black Widow, if it were going on record with everything else, should have been on track to be $1 billion movie. Like, you know, second week in a row, #1 movie. Third week in a row, #1 movie. So it's just kind of like, we're all just kind of like, I'm going to go see it, and then I'm moving on.
I mean, like, the ones who really care about it will go to the theater because they're willing to risk the plague, I'm guessing. I don't know. I didn't talk to them.
Yeah. I'm going to go stand outside interviewing people. But it's interesting.
It does suck that, I mean, this is a little off topic, but, like, you know, there's a scenario where theaters could be back on their feet a little better by now, you know, but then the Delta variant happens and people aren't getting vaccinated enough.
Yeah, so It's again one of
which
those.
isn't their fault,
Right.
theaters or anything. But maybe a little bit, because if you're encouraging folk to go to theaters when there's a plague on and the correct thing to do to get it over with is stay home and encourage vaccinations, oh, it's a sticky wicket is what it is.
We're gonna have a whole other 40-minute conversation on this. So,
Ooh, good question. Christian asked, were people wearing masks in the theaters? They all were coming in. Once they took their seats, the masks looked like they mostly came off.
yeah.
And it wasn't a packed theater, by the way.
That's the good
For
thing.
the
They still
Green
haven't
Knight,
been
yeah.
packed. Yeah.
It was like several seats apart. Like, and when I booked them, like, you can't even book like things next to other people. Mm-hmm. Like a few seats away.
Yeah. So, yeah, again, it's one of those things where it's, go at your comfort level. People will act at their own comfort level. So
I'm still mad about the milk duds, though. Like, I've had milk duds at every movie I've been to. Not every one, but like often, because I love them. And like, I've never been to a theater. I was like, all the milk duds. They're like, we don't have any.
Then why did you even
don't
come in the
what?
first place?
What do you mean you don't have? It doesn't make any sense. It's the movie theater for chocolate food. So that threw me. But maybe soon.
I am so sorry to hear that.
I'm sorry to hear.
Oh, my last thought was going to be that Disney is only going to do, or Marvel is only doing in-theater screenings for Shang-Chi, its next movie
Really?
to come
Okay.
out. No digital screeners. So maybe they, that's kind of been a hot topic as
consider
well amongst, well, why can't, some people can't make it or blah, blah, blah. So we shall see.
I had to get M&M's. They were fine.
I think we should
Not the
move
same.
on.
Okay.
Are there any good, there's a candy shortage, especially larger sizes.
Is there?
Christian
I didn't
said.
know that.
I don't want to hear that. No. Oh, drat. Well,
I mean, that would explain it then. Hopefully that's it.
oh man. So shall we get into the lightning round?
We're getting the lightning round. Lightning round.
Dude.
Where's lightning round?
Woohoo. All right.
Where we go through some several many news stories that we couldn't fit into the main thing and just give our 20-second takes on them. And we are timed. We cannot go over the 20-second limit. Who should
All
start, Mia?
right. I have you with the first
Okay.
headline. So, Dan, a Starfleet Academy show is coming, which means there will now be 7 Star Trek series. What do you think?
7 Star Trek series. Damn. It's almost one of those series that I never really got into, and just the idea that there are 7 different Star Trek shows on the air at once, or will be when this thing goes through, is wild to me. I mean, again, it's cinematic universe building. It's trying to do this thing where you have everything on all at once. The first Star Trek I ever watched was Star Trek Picard. First thing I've ever watched. All right, second story.
We'll never.
Star Wars: The Bad Batch has been renewed for season 2 on Disney Plus.
Ooh, yeah, that was surprising news because this week is the finale, so that means there's going to be more. So we can expect there to be some kind of cliffhanger or something like that. I was really expecting them to have a season 2 anyway. I don't think they were just going to let this show go to waste because there's so much potential, so much money to be made, and all that stuff. So it should be exciting. I'm glad that there will be just more animated Star Wars.
Cool. Last week Corey Smith was on, and I asked him, what do you think of this? And he's like, it's fine. 18 seconds left. Didn't know what to do.
Corey, come on, we got time to feel. All right. Well, Dan, Stranger Things 4 is coming in 2022. And it also looks like they revealed a new teaser. What do you have to say about that?
It's cool. I mean, it's too bad that we can't see things like this sooner, but I mean, I understand it. Pandemic messed up things up, and Stranger Things is a long developing show in the best of years. 2022 is what I expected. 2022 is what we're getting. But I'll be happy to. I like how ambitious the show is. I like that they really care a lot about it. I'm happy to see the new season when it arrives.
Yay. Ooh, you got some bonus points for finishing up early.
Nice. All right, this is a fun one. Idris Elba will play the character Knuckles the Echidna in the movie Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Did you expect that?
No, totally unexpected. Great to see this coming off of the Suicide Squad as well. I really loved him in that. And
He was good.
I am such a Sonic stan, funny enough. So it was kind of cool to see this news happen. I really love Sonic. Me and my brother grew up on it. So the internet was really all over this. And I'm glad that everyone is excited to see him be Knuckles. Okay, this is interesting as well. So, Space Jam: A New Legacy apparently cut out a scene where LeBron James wore Game of Thrones armor.
Cool. I didn't see it. I understand that it was just like a giant reference fest. We're just shoving everything you possibly could, whether it made sense or not. I saw the picture, LeBron James, Game of Thrones armor. It was cool. It was fun. I tend to think it wouldn't have stood out from the rest of the tumult of that movie if it was in, but I'm glad the picture exists. All right. Oh, this one is interesting. I think we talked about this last week, but we can talk about it again because it is good to talk about. Disney revealed the prices to stay at its Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel. It'll be at minimum $5,000 for a 2-night stay. Yeah, what do you think of that, Mia?
Yeah,
Worth it?
It
includes valet parking.
It's hard to say if it's worth it, but they are cramming in so many amenities into the stay. It also includes your meals, 2 meals a day, 3 meals a day. But, there's going to be lightsaber training and Kylo Ren and Rey and Chewbacca and Star Wars meals. And it includes a Disney admission ticket.
$5,000.
Well, $5,000. Okay. Dan, Catherine Zeta-Jones will play Morticia Addams in Wednesday on Netflix.
Fun. This isn't a Addams Family Cinematic Universe yet, so I'm fine with this. Tim Burton directing the Addams Family show. It makes sense. That works. Catherine Zeta-Jones is charismatic, Welsh, Chicago, musical, not born. I can see it. And then, Luis Guzman is Gomez. Yeah. That'll be fun.
Yeah. Woo.
All right. And finally, Alan Cumming, who is, Nightcrawler and X-Men, a bunch of other stuff, told producers to beep off when they approached him about playing a role in Harry Potter.
Yeah, so that role,
Gilderoy Lockhart, I think.
Yeah, it was for Gilderoy Lockhart, and I was like, wow, he would have been really great in that role. Sure. Kenneth Branagh was fine too, but apparently they were giving him some BS about, we can only pay you a certain amount of money. Then he checked with someone else who also had the same agent. They were like, no, they're going to give me more money. So I understand why he was visibly upset. I mean, Lockhart dies anyway, so.
No, he doesn't.
Well,
He gets his memory blown out.
Yeah, and then we never really see him again.
Bam. And then he shows up in Order of the Phoenix in the mental institution when they visit Neville's parents in the book. I don't know if
in the book, yeah. So that would have been his only, little, Now J.K. Rowling is all nutters anyway, so good for him.
From her in a minute.
Let's not hear from her.
Okay.
Anyway, woo, what a show.
That was Take the Black Live for the day of August 11th, 2021. Hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. Mia, did you have a good time?
I had a really good time.
That's
laughing
nice.
And joking.
Laughing, joking, talking, doing serious work, serious analysis. If you want to hear us in podcast form, we are available. Our podcasts are available, like Google Play, iTunes, anywhere really. You can go in, download us, give us a star rating, 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, whatever they got there. We'd appreciate it. And, of course, we stream new episodes of Take the Black live every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on the Winter is Coming Facebook page and on the Winter is Coming YouTube page. And we hope to see you back here next week. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Bye-bye. Milk Duds forever.